Good morning. I see we had one other person hop on, so I think we're going to go ahead with the webinar. Um, so today we're going to be talking about photography and optimizing images for the web. The first part of this webinar, again, comes from the theme team's style guide. So you can always reference back to this if you have more questions about what they mean. And then the second part of this webinar will be me doing some demos to show you how to resize your images if you're struggling with that. If you're noticing your website's load speed is a little slow, this is a good webinar for you because it probably means you are uploading large images to your website. So beginning with the style guide, the first thing I want to mention is that your photography kind of sets the tone for your website. It's usually the first thing users will notice when they land on your site before they read anything. And so choosing the right photography can be a difficult task, even if you have a great library of image resources available to you. So based on this new theme, the team or I guess the team recommends on tone and intention is that photography is a powerful and emotionally engaging storytelling tool. Photos should extend the Iowa State voice and visually express our personality. Photos should be warm, authentic, bright, and energetic to emphasize humanity, inclusivity, community, and caring. When choosing web photography, select from 3 categories: micro lens, macro lens, and architectural, whichever best services the messaging context. So I'll just quickly break down those 3 categories for you guys to give you a better idea about what they mean. So the first is micro lens. These photos are depicting micro views of campus and campus life. There's usually small groups of people interacting with one or two others, or one person focusing on a single task, as you can see in that bottom right corner example. It is okay to have direct camera eye contact for this type of photography, but we want to make sure, because this is such a small focused group, we don't feature anyone's back to the camera. The next one is macro lens. So this is usually showing people engaging in activities within a broader frame. These are going to focus on bigger groups of people within a particular environment. So you'll see lots of framing from the environment in these image examples. And then for smaller groups of people, you'll see kind of more movement focused. So you can see like this almost looks like you're about to watch a video. There's more of a movement than just kind of posing for the camera. And then for this, we just want to make sure we're never showing images behind barriers or with blockers in the way of the subjects. Lastly, we have architectural. And so then for this, we want to emphasize the human perspective. And this is usually depicted at shooting at eye level. So these images are kind of used to allow the audience to see themselves in the context of Iowa State, like putting themselves on campus and seeing themselves there. So these are used for that kind of scenario. We have a couple of tips from the style guide that they recommended, and so I'll just go through these really quickly. Quality is key. We don't want to see blurry images on websites because it's not professional. We want to make sure that we're choosing relevant images that make sense within the context of the page, and the text around it. So consider if a caption might be helpful if you're not sure. Use stock wisely. Stock images can be tricky. This is probably best used for that macro and micro because it'll be pretty hard to get. I think there's a couple out there on Adobe stock of or iStock of Iowa State's campus, but just make sure that you're not being, these are easy to spot, so you have to kind of be really picky with stock photography. And if you're a full-time Iowa State employee, I believe you have access to the Adobe Stock Library with your employment. So if you need help with that, you can reach out to your IT person and they should help you. They should be able to help you get set up with the Adobe Creative Cloud account. Check usage rights. This one's important and I think a lot of times overlooked. So, um, images that you use should be original, taken by you or someone on your team, owned by the university, or part of a Creative Commons library. So make sure that if you're getting images from the Creative Commons library, you're checking the license and giving correct attribution where it's due. Avoid image collages because they can look pretty busy on a website, and then just reiterating that choosing relevant images. Empty space does not equal filler image, so just make sure that your images are relevant to the context. Okay, that's pretty much it from the style guide. So, just keep those kind of categories in mind as you're looking to move forward with the new theme and picking photography for your website. Based on those guidelines, you should be set. So next, I'm going to talk about optimizing images and resizing. So this will be some good demo for you guys. I recently wrote a blog called Optimizing Images for the Web, and you can find that on our website. I'm just going to see if I can paste the link in the chat for you guys. But this is just a good resource for you to come back to after the webinar. If you can't quite remember all of the steps, you can always reference this blog post. And then these slides are already available on the resources page of that website if you prefer to follow along there. So first thing we're going to talk about is file size, image dimensions, and file types for the web. These are just some quick definitions of things that we talk about when we talk about images for the web. So file size refers to the size it takes the server to store your image, and this is measured in bytes, kilobytes, and megabytes. This is important because it influences how fast your website loads, and that affects the user experience of your website, which is very important to returning visitors and even Google sending people to your website. They don't want to send people to a website with a known bad user experience. And so they will flag sites that have images larger than 1 MB if they feel it's affecting the user experience. So as a rule of thumb, we do not recommend that our users upload images larger than 1 MB to their website. And I can show you how to make sure that's smaller in a little bit. The next thing is image dimensions. And so when we talk about image dimensions, we're referring in pixels to the height by the width of the image. Again, images with larger dimensions typically will mean a larger file size, which can mean slower image or page load time. So for us, for our sites, for the CALS LAS web platform, we really don't need images larger than 2000 pixels wide for the most part. And so we typically suggest that you don't go any larger than 2000 pixels wide. And then lastly, when people talk about images on the web, we talk about file types of PNG and JPEG. For JPEGs, these are just pretty much any photography that doesn't need transparent background or text on the image. And so if your image is more of a graphic and has some writing on it, or like an info chart, those would be more PNGs. And then the rest should all be pretty much JPEG for web quality purposes. Okay, so I put together this table showing the CALS LAS web platform's dimensions. So some of these block types will be familiar to you if you're a web editor. We have the banner cards, we have thumbnails for our different features. And you can see here, for the most part, our platform is going to automatically crop these images for you. So if you upload a picture that's 5,000 pixels by 3,000 pixels to any of these card types except for a text box, we're going to automatically resize that to 2000 by 800 or 600 by 350. This, however, does not resize the file size for you. So you are still going to be serving a 10 MB image, even though it's at the right dimensions. So that's why this webinar topic is so important, because a lot of times people think, oh, it looks good in the size, but they don't know that it's actually kind of holding back your server load time. And so it's important that you guys take note of your file size and minimize it to the best of your abilities. So some of you might be thinking, well, I don't even know how to tell what my dimensions are or what the file size is before I upload it. So I've grabbed these screenshots. If you're working on a Mac, the best way to find this is to just right click on the image and then click Get Info, and you'll get this little info box. And you can see under General, it's showing you the file size. So this is 106 kilobytes. And then under more info, you can also see the dimensions. So this is 242 by 192 pixels. And then this one on the right is a screenshot of a PC. And so for this, you just want to open your file manager, click your image, make sure this details pane box is highlighted. And then you'll see on the right the dimensions and the size here as well. So, and this is also described pretty well in that blog. So if you ever need to reference back how to find these, you can just reference the blog. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the demos. And this is easiest if I just show you the first one. I'm using a free tool called Edit Photo. So you literally just go to edit.photo and click enter, and you'll come to this site. It's really simple from here. You're going to select photo, and I just have one saved on my desktop for you. Learning communities, we can see that this is 4.8 megabytes large. And so that's obviously larger than the 1 megabyte that our team recommends. And then we have 5,760 pixels by 3,840. So we have a couple things we can do to make this image smaller for the web. So I'm going to open it, and I'm going to begin with the resize. And I'm just going to make this 2,000 wide, because let's say I want to make it a banner. So that's the 2,000 wide. And then if you want it to be exactly the dimensions of the chart, it's okay if it's not, because like I said, our platform will crop most of these. But just for demo purposes, I'm going to make it the exact size. I'm going to put in the 800 for the height. And then I'm going to go up to crop, and it gives me this box automatically at that 2000 by 800 wide. And I'm just going to drag this to where I like it here. And then once I have it in a good place, I simply have to click this export button. I like to start at 100% quality and just kind of see what the file size is from there. Because a lot of times people will say they feel like they don't know how to do it without getting it too blurry. So I would just say start at the 100% and work from there. So let's see. That one came out as just a minute while I find it on my messy desktop. And I'm going to re-download that. And then I might just do this from here. Downloads. Be right here. Okay, so if I right click this and say get info, we're gonna see my dimensions are at a much more reasonable size, 2000 by 800, but my image is still above 1 megabyte. So there's a second step I'm gonna take just to make sure we get a properly sized image. And that is to go to a tool called TinyPNG. This is another free tool that will just compress the image for you without losing quality. So if I upload my image to TinyPNG, it's compressing it for me. And then I can see the new size is 253 kilobytes, and that is smaller than 1 megabyte. So I'm going to go ahead and download it. And now I have an image at the proper dimensions with a good file size ready to be uploaded to the web. So those are the free online tools that you can use. For those of you who are a little more advanced, I want to do a Photoshop demo. Just because one of the resources I'm going to show you for finding images is the the Office of University Marketing's photo library, and they only give images in the TIFF file format, which is way too large, 63 megabytes for our websites. So for this demo, I downloaded this image beforehand, and I'm just opening it up here in Photoshop. I'm going to go to image size, and my box opened on a different screen. So this box will come up. We can see the width and the height. So I'm again going to make this 2000 wide. And because this is locked, it automatically changes the height within the proper proportions. Okay, so now our image is 2000 pixels wide. And I'm going to crop it to that 800, 2000 by 800. And so to do that, I'm just going to move this up until I see the 800. Okay, and then you can just, again, drag the photo to be placed where you like it and hit enter. So now I have a 2000 wide by 800 pixel high image. And then the next step for me is to go to export, save for web. And from here, you will get this helpful window. I can double check my image size, 2801. And then I have it set to JPEG high. Again, I like to export high quality and then upload to tiny PNG because I feel that gives the least blurry result. But if you want to skip that step, you can go ahead and play with some of these other settings like JPEG low. You can see that knocked it all the way down to 48K. And then just try it from there. Save it. I saved it as a JPEG, as you just saw, and we know that from that window it was 48K. So that is just another way of exporting your images for the web at the proper size. Okay. Lastly, oh wait, I think I missed a slide. Yeah, right here. I mentioned the two resources I wanted to show you. If you are on this slide, you'll see I linked the University Marketing Library and the ISU photo stream. If you open up these two links, this is the University Marketing one, and you can log in through Okta. And see that they provide these images for people to use. And they're pretty good quality images. Like I said, they're very, very high file size. So make sure that you're pretty comfortable with Photoshop and know how to get these images converted for these higher ones if you use any of these images. So this is one option. And then the other one is that ISU photo stream, which takes you here. This is a tool the university has where anyone with a net ID can upload photos they're taking around campus. And in doing so, they're kind of giving their rights to the image over to the university. And so this is another great place to look for images if you're not really sure where to start for images for your website. So check out these two resources. And then lastly, just want to show you guys this Siteimprove tool that we have that crawls your website for you and finds images that you've already uploaded that are larger than 1 megabyte. So if you are a website editor, you are probably receiving this monthly email of your Site Improve dashboard. And if you're not, please reach out and I will get you on the list to receive this for your site. But this just gives you a quick idea about the scores for your accessibility scores for your website. And within this is a report showing properly sized images. Um, and so as you can see for this site, we've got a couple above 1 MB. So I would just log into Site Improve, and then it will show me exactly what page these images are on. I can re-download them, resize them, and re-upload them. And then so hopefully for the next month's crawl, we can get all of these images under 1 MB and improve our user experience on the website. So that was kind of a lot for our quick 20-minute webinar. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to email websupport@isc.edu, and I'm happy to meet with you personally or just correspond with you through email with help for those questions. Again, you can always reference that blog. And then I also have another blog written about this Site Improve dashboard. So start with the blogs if you're not sure. And then let us know how we can help you. Thanks, everyone.